Website traffic to rank #1 on Google. My name is Chris Palmer. In this video, I'd like to share with you some website traffic, how you can rank higher on Google and influencing rank with traffic. But to understand how to influence rank with traffic, we must first understand traffic, different types of traffic, and the potency of different types of traffic and where it comes from. So that's what we're going to discuss today. That's what I want to share with you. This will help you immensely with your rankings moving into 2021. And with that being said, 2021, as time is progressing, we're starting to see and understand that user signals and clicks and all of these types of metrics, because this is algorithmic, they're crunching it all, is all playing more and more of a massive part in your rankings. It's not just links and on page and yada, yada. There's so much going on. So I want to just dissect a couple of things today to give you a deeper understanding of traffic and how you can influence the rank on Google. So first I want to talk about the very first thing, and I want to break down potency because this is important. So the first thing is a session, all right? Let me talk about what a session is, all right? So the beginning of a session, all right, is, we're going to say it's a clear browser. It needs to be a clear browser because this is a true session, a clear browser, clear history. Everything's clear. I've launched a new browser. I just launched this. This is the beginning of a session. Now, everything that happens inside of here can influence what is going to happen next, all right? Everybody's session is added up into the algorithm, all right? So if I have 10,000 people all within a session have a query, and all of those queries have been answered, all 10,000 inside of a session on the same result, that result is going to show benefit. I hope that makes sense. So in the start of a session, if I have 10,000, 5,000, even 1,000, in some instances, only 100 or 50 or 10 make a difference. It depends on other metrics that are playing in part. So at the beginning of a session and at the end of a session, the query needs to be answered. If the query is answered inside of a session, then that was the best result. If this happens enough time, then that page that ended that session is now a clear winner. Now, let me ask you this. Let's talk about traffic and why it's so important, all right? And I want you to think about this really briefly here. And if I have a PBN site, all right, if I just have a link on a site, all right, I go and I buy a link. Or if I get an authority link that's getting traffic, all right, if we look at metrics and they're the same, all right, let's just use Forbes, for instance. If I have a Forbes link, it's getting traffic. That website's getting traffic. Everything's great, but it matches the same metrics as a PBN site. What link is going to be a better link for you to receive? The link with the traffic, right? Also, I want you to think about this, because this all plays part. I want to give you ideas and thoughts that can help you with your rankings. You can't influence rank and you can't use traffic and clicks to influence rank if you don't understand these aspects. And I want to help you. The next piece of it is this. If I'm an SEO agency, why do I want an already established business, right? Do I want a brand new guy that I just decided to launch a website today and I need your help, right? Do you want that? Do you want that user, or do you want somebody that has an established business? They've been in business for 10 years. They already have a website. They already have social. Their SEO just isn't on point. Who do you want? I want the established brand that already is getting brand searches. It's already there. Why? Because they're already in position. They're already receiving traffic. They're already receiving clicks. These metrics play a part. Now, we've talked about session. All right, and I added those two pieces in there about the traffic because the propensity for a link to be clicked makes a link more powerful. Traffic is a metric. That's where I was getting at. So we talked about session, the beginning of a session, the end of a session. I have a lot of thoughts. I just want to get them all out. I want to give them to you all at once. That's what this video is about, all right? I just have a lot of thoughts I want to share with you. So session. The beginning and the end of a session, what happens will influence the next session. And if there's enough sessions that happen, right, it's going to influence rank. I hope that makes sense. Now let's talk about long clicks and short clicks. right? Because we need to understand these factors in order to influence rank utilizing traffic and clicks, right? A short click. We're going to utilize Chris Palmer Marketing. All right, so a short click is this. So Chris Palmer Marketing, all right? So here's a short click. And we're going to talk about the potency of these clicks and the traffic and how they can help you. Understanding this will give you that aha and be like, oh, okay, I understand now. All right, so stick with me, please. So a short click is this. I go to a page, I click on this Facebook listing. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It just pops open and I'm like, no, I want this. All right, and this is my website. Oh, this is the best answer. All right. Now, if I were to shut all of this off, that would be the end of a session. I came to the best answer for that query, Chris Palmer Marketing. Okay. Now, if I were to attach something, so a short click is I bounce, I hurry up and bounce. A long click is if I were to sit on this query for a long period of time, maybe even click through, right? But I'm sitting on that query for a long time. Obviously, I must be satisfied. And then if I end my browser after a long click, say after the course of maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, right, on that query, then not only was that considered a long click, but it was also the end of a session. I've answered the query. That's more powerful. So like I said, I want to talk about potency. Short click. I bounce from here to here. This is a bad answer for this target term, right? So Chris Palmer Marketing was the target term for this query inside of this session. I click on Facebook, I hurry up, I jump off, I go back to Chris Palmer Marketing. So for Chris Palmer Marketing, in this session, the best answer was the top result. Does that make sense? I hope that it does. Because that's massive. To understand that is huge. It's so simple, but you need to be able to put those pieces together. Let me get rid of that so we're not. Now the long click is more powerful, right? The potency of a long click is even better. Because if I do a search, but now I want to talk about a brand plus keyword search. So if I start associating a brand, and then I want you to keep in the back of your mind, okay, there's other things at play. The session, the overall session, right? Then there's short clicks and long clicks. Now we need to start associating keywords with the brand. If you're utilizing this for local, these types of metrics are more powerful. Why? Because there's less factors at play. So when I start associating, okay, Chris Palmer Marketing with SEO, right? And I do a search, and I start clicking on this first result, and I sit on the page for a long period of time and perform a long click, and then I end my session on that. And if that happens enough times, now we're associating. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's talk about this now. So now we have brand plus keyword, okay? Then there's just branded searches. So that's really, I'm going through the different types of traffic, and I want you to understand, and then the potencies of the traffic. That's the idea here, all right? Hopefully it's not too much for some, or I'm sure that you guys can definitely understand what we're getting at here. All right, so we have branded. So this would just be a branded Chris Palmer Marketing. All right, so this is a branded search. Relatively powerful, but this is how you would establish, if you're a local business, this is how you would establish your dominance. Okay, if there's people within a certain vicinity in the United States searching for this particular brand over and over, this is going to start establishing within the algorithm brand dominance. And why is that? Because then they're going to start looking at the website. Okay, what's the website talking about? Plus, they're going to start taking into account searches that were done with this. So were people also associating SEO or SEO consultant with this, right? And that's how you start showing up for those terms, right? When people start searching SEO consulting or just SEO, and I'm using me as an example, but when enough of this happens, that's how you start showing up just for those terms without the brand name in front. So there's branded, right? Then there's brand plus keyword, keyword plus branded. And then there's just keyword searches, right? So if I was searching SEO consultant PA, right? And then I were to search for it and scroll through to find the bet inside one session, right? Inside of one session, if I search for SEO consultant, Pennsylvania, and I scroll and I look for my result and I click on it, okay? If I scroll through and I search for mine and I click on it, and then I end on a long click, right? And I end that session within my listing, that's the best answer. And if I do that enough times, that will start increasing my rank for an SEO consultant PA. Does that make sense? I hope that it does. So that's more potent. So we have to remember a session, everything that happens in a session, all right? A clear browser, clear history from beginning till end. Was the query answered? Then we need to start looking at, and I'm walking through all of them. So we have our branded, right? We have our keyword, regular keyword searches. Then we have our brand plus keyword searches, right? And then anything that happens, we need to end on our query being the best. I hope that that's making sense. Now let's talk about targeted, all right, searches. So targeted would be more like, okay. So a targeted would be if we're starting to utilize now other authority sources. So let's say I have a YouTube video, right? And this would be even more powerful. So if I have a YouTube video that's based around one center topic, all right, let's say SEO consulting. I have a video about SEO consulting. So that's an authority link. And inside of that video, I have my link to my website. So I start the session. I search. I find the video. I go to the video. I click on the link and go over to my website and then stay on that site or click through to another page within that site. Now inside of a session, I found the best query. I've used a brand search. I clicked on an authority website that's all about this main keyword. I find my website. I click on it. I go to the website. I sit on the site, right? A long click. And then I end the session. I found the best answer to that query from an authority page. That's more powerful than just a regular search. I hope that makes sense. Also, I want to talk about this. All right. This would be yet another way. So I've been seeing this. I've seen some positive results. So I want to walk you through a fun way. Now I made a video about embedding, say, keywords into, say, an embed, right? Then you can take that embed, you could pay for a blast, get it blasted onto a bunch of Web 2.0s, right? But the problem with that is those Web 2.0s don't have any traffic, right? The traffic is what makes something more potent. So another thing that we can do is this. So have you guys heard of Place ID? All right. So I just want to say this. And instead of embedding only keywords into inside of an embed, right? Just keywords inside the embed, we can also put schema inside of an embed, and we can also put place IDs to start making the association. And why am I saying this? Because this takes me back to when I was speaking about what kind of brand or business do I want? Do I want somebody that just started a brand, they just launched a website, there's never been any searches, there's no citations, no nothing? Or do I want somebody that's already established? They have a social presence. They've already done a wave of citations. You see what I'm getting at? So then all we need to do is we need to start making associations. One of the associations that we can make is by getting place IDs for particular locations and placing them into embeds and then blasting out those embeds. So how would I go about doing this? So I'll show you guys that today. So let's say we're going to do Tamaqua. Let's do a place ID finder. And here's what's fun. All right. So they have a thing on here, and there's also card IDs. There's machine entity IDs. There's different types of codes, but here's what's really cool. So, and I want to show you how this works, and then we'll end this video here, because I think in my mind, when I was thinking, hey, I want to walk through this, I thought that it would break down a few more pieces, but I think that it's hard for me to articulate different types of searches how I really want to. So I don't know if it would be better for me to, I don't know. Let's hear. Let me show you guys this though. So this is pretty unique. This is different. And I've been seeing some positive result. We tried this on we tried this a couple times, and it seems to be pretty helpful. So let's just say Philadelphia. And here's what's really cool about this, right? So if I'm searching Philadelphia, every single location will have a particular place ID. And I spelled that completely wrong. So this is a place ID, and what's really cool is within the machine, right? Google knows, like if I go up here and I search this, and I put this inside of here, it's going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Look at, bam, it knows what I'm talking about, right? So how can this be used? So if I go around to all the cities that I, within say a 5-mile proximity, right? We don't want to expand too far, right? I've tried that numerous times. I've even tried other countries. I tried expanding massive amounts of miles. It's not as effective as if you do say a 5-mile radius, right? And then build out one website, one GMB, right? And then start putting the pieces together, but only go out so far. Don't go out really far. Like don't go out countries or states. I've tried all of that. You need to establish a website, attach it to a GMB, right? Go out about 5 miles and then find another densely populated area, establish another GMB, a different website, and then do the same thing. It's the only thing that I've seen that's super effective that really works. All right, so let's say if we were to do this, I just want to I wanted to showcase this. So if I were to do this, I would be looking at say a map, and I would be going around for a 5-mile radius, getting the proximities, and then to get it on the page so it's not ugly and not putting it to the main schema, you can embed it inside of an embed. You can utilize same as schema inside of an embed, and then blast that out. Why would I want to do that? Because then you're starting to put the pieces together for Google. I hopefully that helps you out. And what I'm getting at is this, because then there's actually references online of you talking about this, like it's within, like Google is understanding this. And then if you can start associating those types of keywords, like if I start associating my brand with those locations, I'll start triggering for those searches. I hope I gave you enough tips. I hope that this was helpful. I think I was at a disconnect because I was talking with a couple of fine gentlemen, been in the SEO industry for quite some time, but putting those pieces together for the clicks and understanding the traffic is key. So I wanted to break down the different types of traffic, different types of clicks, and I wanted to discuss that with you. Like start as you're building out your clicks and your traffic and you're expanding and you're running your traffic, any type of campaign that you're doing, you need to start putting those pieces together. So whether you're doing embeds, whether you're building out web 2s, whether you're building out other websites to make associations for your main website, that's what you need to do. Well, that's about it. That's really all I wanted to cover today. I just wanted to cover and touch on traffic, different types of traffic, a session, and I thought that would be important for you. So I hope that you've learned something today. I hope that it was helpful. I really do. Other than that, I have to go. Unfortunately, today. So it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope that everybody has learned something today. Let me take a look here. Was that helpful? Does that break it down here? Let's break that down a little bit better. Let's do that. Let's write it out here. Let's do that. So a session, all right, so is from beginning, a clear browser from beginning until end. So from start until finish. So whatever happens within that session is really all that matters. And then if enough sessions end on the same exact thing over and over again, this can influence rank, okay? Now then we talked about short clicks, all right? Short clicks are not as effective as a long click, right? A short click is I have a query, right? I have an initial query and I search, right? Then bounce, UNCE, and I go to the better answer, right? So that's a short click. I go from one to the other. Now a long click is I have an initial query, okay? I have a query, all right? Let's say Chris Palmer Marketing. And these three things all play a part in every single search that you do. All of them. Like they all matter, right? The session, the short click, the long click. And this stuff's in patents. You know, I'm not going to get into all that, what's the word that I hear? The technobabble, right? But this is important aspect because all of these elements play a part in the overall ranking. Every single time a session is started and ended, whether it's a short click or a long click, and how the query is answered, all makes up the end result. Why do you think the guys on top stay on top? Because they're getting all the clicks and they're getting all the traffic. A lot of times, how many times have you written a wonderful article? Your article is spot on, right? You know that your content is a lot better. You look at their content, you look at your content. Why am I not in position? Well, I mean, aside from maybe off-page factors and links and overall authority, but it's because they're generating all the clicks and all the traffic, right? That's it. So I think that, and then as time progresses, if enough people are searching a query and clicking on that result, searching a query, clicking on that result, and then ending a session on that result, especially if they're clicking on it and performing a long click and staying on the site and then ending their query. Like if I search for on-page SEO checklist and I click on Backlinko's website, it's 12,000 words, 8,500 of which words are comments, and I were to sit on that page for 11 minutes reading all that babble, not only did I perform a long click, not only did I start a session and end a session, but I may even have clicked through to another thing, got a pop-up. You see what I'm saying? Like, all this plays part. So session, short click, long click. Now let's talk about keyword search. A keyword search is this, right? If I search for SEO consulting, right? And I go all the way through and I try to find Chris Palmer marketing and I click on that. But I don't hurry up and bounce. I don't perform a short click. I perform a long click. And then I sit on that query and then end the session. Bam! For that keyword, at least for the next few days, I'm going to show an increase in rank. Just like this. If you launch a page, right? A brand new fresh page, highly optimized. Have you ever noticed that when you first launch a page, it's within, say, the first or second page, and then they magically make adjustments and then boom, you drop? Why? Because you're not getting the clicks, you're not getting the traffic. It's like they're almost testing. They're testing. They're always doing this. And I told you that to tell you this. The same thing happens when enough people are literally doing keyword searches, performing these clicks, ending sessions, getting answers to queries. As you're getting those clicks and as you're getting the traffic, you'll keep ranking up. And as long as you can keep performing and getting those clicks and that traffic, you'll stay in position. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So a keyword search is searching for a particular keyword and finding your result and ending on that. I think that is highly beneficial, but you need a lot more. So a branded search, I'm sure you can understand that a brand is searching for a brand, clicking on your brand and ending the session. That's a branded, all right? So if we do keyword plus brand, all right, that's helpful. That's your keyword plus a brand, associating your keyword, any keywords, a magnitude of keywords with a brand, ultra helpful. Targeted. So targeted is a little bit different, right? And this is more of an opinion, but I've found that this seems to be a little bit more beneficial, okay? Targeted is when I have an authority website, and this is like the creme de la creme, right? Let's say I get an authority link. Let's say I were to get a link on Backlinko. If I get a link on Backlinko on a page that's for, I don't know, on-page SEO, right? And my anchor text is for on-page SEO. And I have people clicking on his @1 listing, clicking on my link, coming over, and then ending a session. I guarantee you, without any shadow of a doubt, that with at least for a short period of time, they're going to test my website up for that keyword. This would be a targeted click. Does that make sense? That's why when you're building backlinks, you want to get a link on a website that's getting traffic, because it's not only is it more powerful, but if you can start can you see this circle, this evolution in a way? All of these pieces influence rank, all of it. I hope that I'm not too scatterbrained for you. I have a lot that I want to give you. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words, but understanding this is kind of difficult, but not really. You see? I hope that I've explained it well. But that would be like a targeted. And then you can do like little manipulation tactics. Like I said, like making those associations out on the web. And that brings me back to talking about like having an established brand and then doing work for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, say there's a car wash guy. He owns a car wash. He's been in business 20 years. He's got a main website. There's no content. There's no pages, but he's established. People are searching for him. I start putting out content based around the keywords that he wants to rank for him. Boom! Within 90 days, I'm ranking for all those keywords, and he thinks that I'm a wizard. No. The reason why is because people are already associating your brand with those keywords. So when I put out the content, I'm already ranking. Right? Right. And unlike if I get a brand new guy in, I need to start from day one. I need to build out the social profiles. I got to go build out web 2s. I got to start make brand equity. I got to start bringing in traffic, running ads to start making those connections for Google. Hopefully that makes sense for you. All right. So I hope that maybe I've given you some thoughts to get, if you are running traffic, if you're using microworkers, if you're using Facebook ads, if you're using Google, whatever you're doing, you need to start thinking, okay, how can I start, I don't want to use the word manipulate because it seems dirty, right? But how can I generate these searches? How can I make people start associating my brand or business with keywords? How can I start making them associate my brand with other top associated brands, right? So I could be in the rankings with them. How can I get links on those websites and start bringing traffic over to my site? This is what matters, right? That's why you can still build a lot of links. That's why, okay, if I go out and I fire up GSA and I blast a site with 1 million links, is that going to do anything? Not really. But if I go build 2 high quality links and start bringing traffic from their website to my website, am I going to increase in rank for particular keywords? Absolutely. So that's targeted, keyword, branded, just regular keyword searches. And the reason why I'm making this is because I think that there was a disconnect of searches. People would think that, okay, they would search for their brand and then click. That's only one aspect. That's a branded search. You need to start associating that with keywords. Then you have to do brand and geo depending on if you're in a particular location, because then I need to start bringing in clicks. Let's say that I'm in Philadelphia and I want to rank 5 miles out, because you can't stretch the proximity too far, right? But if I want to start bringing in other clicks, I need people to be searching for me out there, so Google starts serving my answer to their queries that they're out there. So if I have customers that magically start searching for me, if I'm running campaigns, this is what I'm getting at. So if I'm going to run a Facebook ad, I want to start forcing that traffic so Google can start making those associations. I hope that makes sense. So that's a brand plus geo plus a keyword. I hope that helps you guys. I could probably go on for days, but I hope that this has been helpful for you.